Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for Psychic Divination Hour with Psychic Gen B. I'm so excited. Tonight's guest is psychic medium Diane Roberts. Early on in life, Diane learned that her highly empathic skills could lead her into trouble. As Diane got into her teen years, she began having precognitive dreams of what was going to happen to both herself and her friends. As she began sharing this information with her friends started pulling away. Seeing that these precognitive abilities were impeding her relationship, she began keeping her psychic dreams and visions to herself. As Diane entered the workforce, she found that her guides would speak up and advise her on how to help those in need around her. But even with their guidance, she still wasn't quite able to figure out what was happening to her. Early on in adulthood, Diane was blessed to have not one, but two experiences in the presence of angels. Her first experience was while she was next to her grandmother's hospital bedside. As her grandmother lay in a coma, Diane began to pray. As she finished and opened her eyes, she was amazed to find that her grandmother was awake and smiling ear to ear. Diane then realized she was not the only person next to her grandmother's bedside, but that all around her were brilliant figures, and these brilliant figures were encompassed in a beautiful golden glow. During the experiences, she had the whereabouts to look over to her mother and aunt to see if they too were seeing what she saw. However, as they all sat in the same room, it appeared she was the only one having this experience. As Diane looked back to her grandmother, she watched her smile dissipate along with the presence of the angels. Shortly after this experience, Diane's grandmother came out of her coma and went on to live another 8 years. Diane's second encounter with divine energy was a life-saving one for herself. One early morning on her way to work, down a narrow, curvy, steep mountain highway, a semi came around the corner and took up her lane. As the bright lights blinded her, she wasn't sure what dangers awaited behind them. She feared that she was about to meet either the semi or the mountainous rock wall head on. Yet somehow, while blinded, she was able to safely manage the narrow space between them. As time went on, Diane's guides finally put her in the path of meeting a psychic that offered classes. Diane studied with Mary Kay for 6 years, developing her psychic awareness and mediumship abilities. During this time, Diane was also fortunate enough to attend workshops by Wayne Dyer, James Von Prague, and John Edward. Diane had also successfully completed Doreen Virtue's Angel Card certification. I was fortunate enough to meet Diane during the 1-year psychic development program at Age of Aquarius, which, by the way, is where Mary Kay first studied. Diane feels as though there is never an end to learning, and she continues to further herself with additional classes. Hello, Diane. Welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I am very excited about tonight's show. You're one of my most favorite people, and you are such a gifted medium. But I'll get into that in a little bit. So, let me see. I have my list of questions here. Sorry, everyone. We had a little technical difficulties before the show, and I'm just getting everything a little sorted out. So, these precognitive visions that you started having early on in your youth, was hoping maybe you could give us a little bit more information about that. Perhaps tell us about your experience with the rose.
With the rose?
Yes, the rose that you were painting.
Oh, okay. My grandmother had been in the hospital, and
It's okay. It's okay.
Are you referring to when my grandmother passed away?
Yes, ma'am, I sure am.
Okay. When my grandmother passed away, I was going to an artist therapy, and that's where you draw from your mind, and whatever is coming first in the forefront of your mind, you draw that, and then you relate what that drawing is as to what you're going through in your life. And when I was told to draw what was in the forefront of my mind, I drew a rose, a long-stemmed rose, and it was actually a rosebud. It was actually a rosebud. And in the rosebud, it was in a circle, in an oval-shaped circle, and the rose was like a pink, a dark pink, and I couldn't really understand at that time why I was drawing that. So I went to my grandmother's funeral, and upon walking into the church to my grandmother's casket, as her casket was open, at the lid of the casket was that exact same rose that I had drawn. And it was also located on all four corners of the outside of the casket. And it just really kind of freaked me out. And I thought, how could this be? You know, I didn't understand why I would be seeing that or drawing that at that particular time in my life.
Right. Did you feel as though that because this was a vision therapy course, that perhaps, although you hadn't taken any psychic development classes yet, did you kind of get the feeling that perhaps, you were just getting some sort of sign?
Yeah, I felt like I was being told or shown something that at that point in my life, I didn't understand it at all. I didn't understand how that could be, because the way I was raised was that nobody knows things, nobody sees things, nobody hears things. It's just, that's in the movies.
Right.
And so I couldn't really relate to that. It wasn't until later on when I was actually shown the path to get a hold of a teacher and to go ahead and open up that area of my life, that it was okay.
Right.
And not to be afraid of it. Yeah.
Right. So I wanted to go back just a little bit further. So 8 years before that, when you had your experience next to your grandmother's bedside. So as she did end up passing, but she was able to live on a few more years, it seems like you really had a connection. Do you feel as though you've always kind of had that psychic connection with her? Or was it that event next to her hospital bedside where you were blessed enough to be in the presence and visually see these angels? Do you feel as though that is when your connection, your psychic connection bond was created with her?
I feel like it wasn't that my grandmother just happened to be there to show me the path as I look back on it now. if she wouldn't have been in a coma at that point, and if I wouldn't have had the opportunity to actually be there and be next to her bedside, none of this would have come together as it did.
Right.
And I really believe that the angels just completely orchestrated by the universe, and for me to walk down the path that I did. It was something that just the colors of them was like I just wanted to shake my mom and my aunt and say, look, can you see?
Right.
But they were too busy talking. They weren't there. I mean, they were focused on each other.
Right. They were oblivious.
Right. And so, and the thing that also made me kind of wonder what was going on was because when growing up, you see pictures of angels with wings and they're, beautiful and all this. And what I was seeing was I'd see tall beings, short beings.
Right.
All different heights. And then I did not see wings. And that kind of baffled me a little bit. But the amount of I'm sorry, the amount of feeling that I had from being in that position was overwhelming. It was just overwhelming.
Now, you described them for us a little bit, saying that there were tall beings and short beings, and that there just really didn't seem to, be angel wings. But they did have this beautiful glow about them.
Yeah.
I mean, what was... you're an empath. Your gifts began as an empath and developed from there. So what was that feeling? I mean, I know the emotion had to have been greatly intense, but what would you say that feeling was to be in their presence?
It was, I don't even know if there's a word to describe it other than I was like I felt so blessed, so privileged, so honored, so elated that they would want to show themselves to me or in front of me, not only physically in front of me, but through my grandmother's smile. Because when they appeared, my grandmother smiled from ear to ear. And that's when I glanced up at this brightness around her bed and noticed that they were there.
Do you feel as...
So it was...
I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just wondering, do you feel as though you seeing her awake was really happening, or do you feel as though that you were in that timeless moment where nobody else could see that was present, your mother, your aunt? They were unable to see what was happening. You were in this bubble of a timeless moment. Do you think that she really did open her eyes and smile? Or do you think that because you were, in that vortex of that experience is why you were able to see her open her eyes and smile?
I really feel that, she didn't open her eyes. Her eyes kept closed.
Okay.
But she smiled from ear to ear, and I felt like I was like like I was in a vortex, like I was totally in a complete bubble that nobody else could see us. And then I was just given this great opportunity, and I felt so blessed.
That's amazing. It really is. So when you had the experience driving to work that early morning and you knew there wasn't that space to fit in between this semi and that rock wall, did you have that same, that same spiritual feeling come about you, or did it happen so quickly that you just knew it happened?
Well, it happened so quickly, and I thought it was like split seconds when it actually occurred. And I was saying to myself, I was touching myself, thinking, "Am I dead? Am I dead?"
Right.
And then I pulled over to the side of the road and took a deep breath and looked around to see, oh my goodness, am I really here still? Because I knew that it wasn't possible. And then I was shown in a vision that I was just actually lifted up and over. And that was the vision that I was given.
That, oh my gosh, that gives me goosebumps. Did you receive this vision while you were pulled over at the side of the road, or was it later that day? When you have these amazing visions, so I'm just kind of wondering how they connect together to the event.
This one came right when I pulled over off the road, and I was questioning, how can I be alive, And then I was shown that vision that I've lifted.
That's just
the
amazing.
Whole car, everything. It's been so weird.
That's just amazing. So I know everyone's probably really excited to hear about the workshops that you were able to attend with John Edward and James Von Prague and Wayne Dreyer, because they're just like, yeah, oh my God, you met them names. So I do want to get to that, but I also wanted to touch base about your animal communication. I have witnessed it, how this amazing bond that you have with your pets, and you know exactly what they're telling you. And also in class, the development class that we had a session that focused on speaking to animals, and that although my animal that I had chosen wasn't there, you were able to connect with him, my cat, Floyd. And so I just was hoping you could tell us a little bit about how you've learned that, first of all, you could speak to animals, and then second, how you're able to process and communicate with them, because, they do speak a little bit of a different language than us.
Yeah. When we were at that phase in the class, I thought to myself, well, there's no way that I could do this. I just could not imagine it. And I thought, well, I got to try. And so I did my best to really ground myself and focus and allow Spirit just come through to me. And that was the pivotal point when I'm able to let down my guard and allow Spirit to just speak. That's for me, that's the most difficult, because I tend to can sometimes have my guard up. But,
right.
But the animals, that I don't really understand it at all. I don't have a way to explain it.
Exactly.
I hear them.
So I just real quick don't want to interrupt this great conversation, because Diane has all these wonderful stories to share with us and all these experiences to share with us. I just want to remind everyone that you are able to join the chat room. If you're looking, or if you're listening in on your phone, just go ahead and take a look and you'll see a round chat bubble. Click on that, but make sure you click the heart first and then come on into chat. If you are watching from your PC or laptop, then there should be a little bar icon down on the bottom of your screen. Make sure you click the heart and then click the rectangle-shaped chat box, because Diane will be taking questions later in the show. And she's an extremely gifted psychic medium, and this will be a great opportunity for everyone. Okay, so now back to when you speak to spirits. Thank you for your patience. So like you were saying, you needed to relax and just let spirit come in. Now, I know you have protection tools that you use because we've learned some of them together, being that we took a mutual class. But I know that you've taken a lot of other classes and have had lots of opportunities to learn lots of different tools from other psychic mediums. What are your go-to basic tools that you use for protecting yourself while you're doing a reading?
The number one thing I always do is I definitely always light a white candle. And I always wrap roses around myself, and I put a golden pyramid over myself to protect anything negative from coming into my presence. And I found that the roses have been extremely helpful in almost every aspect of doing this.
Right. I know. I agree with you 100%. So our teacher, Margaret from Age of Aquarius, she's taught us the Berkeley Psychic Institute method, and Roses is a visual tool for that method, but she'll be on next week, so we'll get to ask her about that next week. What I'd like to hear, what drew you to want to use this golden pyramid? Where was it something your guides told you about, or something that you perhaps learned from another psychic or while you were in a workshop?
No, I actually just been learning little by little about pyramids and the functions and different things on what they're able to create and what their purpose is. And they can be a vortex, and I just was told to do that. My guides guided me to just make sure I put a golden pyramid over the top of myself. Sometimes, depending on what the situation is, I don't always have a four-sided pyramid. I will put a five-sided pyramid around myself. If I feel that I need extra protection, I will put a five-sided pyramid.
That is very interesting. I think I'll have to try out your pyramid my next meditation, because it does sound powerful there with that point. Is that how you feel, as though you're able to connect with your higher self and your guides?
You mean the point of the pyramid?
Yes, ma'am.
No, I just feel like the energy that is generated in the pyramid, the wider the pyramid is on the base, the more energy it brings up from the earth.
Okay.
The shorter the base is and the taller it is, the more it brings down from the source.
Okay. That's a great tip, and I certainly appreciate you sharing that with all of us. I know that a lot of empaths are on their path to learn how to protect themselves and develop themselves. So I think that is a great tool that you were kind enough to share with all of us, and I'm going to give it a try. I mean, it sounds like a great thing to me. So can you tell us a little bit about these workshops? Let's start with Wayne Dreyer. What was that workshop that you took with him?
Well, I took a combined workshop that involved a lot of different people. Like I can't even list them all, but Wayne Dyer at that point, he had his new book coming out. I Can See Clearly Now, and when he was up on stage talking and explaining things about his life and things that he had gone through, and the thing that amazed me the most was that he went through a very low points in his life as well, that were able, had he not gone through those, he would not have been able to become the person that he is, the writer, the person to be able to share his experiences, to teach others. I felt he was such a great teacher. I was able to sit and listen to him with a lot of other people in his workshop regarding this.
I agree.
I just felt really blessed.
Being able to hear about other people's experiences and how they can mirror or relate to your experiences does help you grow, because they've already been there, they've experienced it, and they've figured out what works. So I'm jealous that you got to do that. That's amazing. So what about... Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was just going to say, at the time when I was there, I did not realize he was ill. He kept it very much to himself. And I'm just so grateful. Just so grateful.
Right, to have had that chance, for sure. All right, so James Von Prague, what was the workshop that you took with him?
With him, it was a mediumship workshop. And he's just such a natural. Oh, my goodness. To watch him, I was just in awe, because he could just move right through when he's reading someone or focusing on someone. It was just, I was just in awe, because he could just go boom, boom, boom right through it. Like it was just a piece of cake, like it was just slicing butter.
That's amazing.
He was so thorough with the clients that he did do.
Yeah, I've seen him on TV a couple of times, and you can see him listening to the other side. You can see it processing those images, and that's really great. So you took a lot out of that class then?
Yeah, I took a lot. One of the things that I learned from not only him, but also John Edwards, was that when you are getting something, a message, and you're telling your client the message, not to back down, because the message is clear. They just don't remember it quite that way. And the more you talk or the more you say about it, it'll strike the chord, and they'll just say, "Oh, now I get it," or "Oh yeah, now I see," And then all the pieces of the puzzle will fall into place.
Yes. And it's fun to watch that, to watch the querent that you're speaking to or the client you're speaking to. It's fun to watch it click for them and them realize, "Oh, I forgot that," or "Oh, thank you for reminding me." And it's really fulfilling to do that. So John Edward, his class was a mediumship development workshop as well?
Yes, it was. I was very blessed to, how you have this huge audience. I was very blessed to be one of approximately 7 people that actually got a reading from him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was myself, my dear friend, and a previous teacher. All 3 of us, and that were in that particular audience, all got a reading.
Oh, wow. And you guys went together and never expected it. And then all 3 of you, it happened. I mean, that shows you how your mediumship abilities, and is this Mary Kay that was with you?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean...
Yes, and Mary Kay and Mary Ann.
Oh, and Mary Ann, who's in the chat room, by the way, and says hello. And Mary Ann is a gifted healer. And I haven't had the opportunity to meet Mary Kay. I'm hoping to meet her. In fact, I'm kind of hoping that maybe I can get her on the show as well. And just from everything I've heard, is just such a gifted psychic medium. And I know she worked with Margaret, who, again, a gifted psychic medium. And you are so gifted. So the three of you must have just been a powerhouse. And your guides must have just said, hello, Mr. John Edward. We want you to talk to these three, because you guys were just bringing them in with you. So that's pretty amazing.
It was a shock. It was a shock. Because when he pointed to me to stand up, he had mentioned something, and I'm thinking, oh, that sounds like me. And I kind of raised my hand a little bit, thinking, well, maybe not. And he goes, yes, you. And I'm thinking, oh, my gosh, he said, yes, you. That's me. And Marianne was sitting right next to me, and he immediately went right over to her after he was finished talking to me and gave her a reading as well. And it was just, we were just like in awe, like, oh my goodness, what are the odds of this?
That is amazing. Well, Marianne is going to be on the show in a few weeks, so she'll get an opportunity to definitely tell us about that. I mean, John Edward is just inspiring. He really is. I miss him being on TV all the time, because he just, you can tell his goal is to get you the message and let you heal. So I was really excited that you guys got to go, and that, that you got to meet him. So we have just a little bit over 10 minutes here, and I promised that you might do pull a few single cards, people, so get your questions ready for angel cards. So I was hoping before we do that, because that you could, give us a little bit of background about the angel card certification. So I was at Diane's house a couple days ago, and she did an angel card reading for me, and she has a very unique way. It's really, really wonderful. First, she starts out by having the querent shuffle, and then she has you spread the cards out. She starts out by anointing your hand with blessed rose oil, and you put your hands together, and she gives you 4 crystals to hold. And you shuffle the cards, and you spread the cards out in front of you, almost in a fan, but it's easier in a direct line. And then you meditate for a moment, and with your eyes closed, she has you lay the 4 crystals down on the cards that are in front of you. Then the card that the crystal is on, whether it be 1 or 2, she then pulls those out, and she gives you a reading. It's just amazing, because you've done the shuffling, you've done the laying of the crystals, and Diane knows exactly what you need to hear for the moment. She's able to give you that message. So how did you go about with this angel certification? It's an online class, or were you able to attend it in person?
I was able to attend in person, and it was also a workshop. It was connected to the workshop where Wayne Dyer also attended in San Jose, and I was able to be there and get certified from Doreen Virtue, and it was just an awesome experience.
How long was the class? The reason I'm asking is because I know you're such a gifted psychic and medium, that I'm just wondering, how quickly it clicked for you when you took the class. How was it? A couple of hours, 3 hours?
The class was like a half a day long.
Okay.
And it was. Or maybe it was longer than that. It's been a while since I was there, but it didn't. At first, my problem is I get very nervous at first.
Right.
And I get so excited that I think, oh my gosh, and I worry about it sinking into my head. And then once I settle down, it starts to. I start to relax, and then everything starts to just begin to click. When I just allow myself to allow spirit to work,
to go to that neutral place, right? That neutral spot. Yes. Where the spirit's able to come in.
Exactly.
That's amazing. Now, I know that you use Angel Tarot as well as the Angel Oracle card. So which deck have you chosen to use for us today?
The Archangel Power Tarot card.
Okay, so she's chosen the Doreen Virtue Archangel Power cards. So we do have a couple people already that want a card. So Candy, now would you like to know their location in the United States, or do you feel as though that you can connect with to their energy without that?
Yeah, let me know their location.
Okay, so Candy, she lives in upstate New York, I believe it is. She refers to it as the boonies. And she doesn't have a particular question, but I think that the deck that you've chosen will work for this. She would just kind of like to have just like a general information, whatever your guides are telling you to let her know.
Okay.
So I'm going to start with a hard one.
Okay, this is interesting.
Oh, Central New York, sorry.
She got Archangel Jeremiel, which does life reviews, and his stone is amethyst. It's the New Beginnings card, and so this is the way I would see this. There's something new within her life that's starting. Something that has a purpose, something that she's discovering, something that needs to grow, something that she's very compassionate about, and something that she's all she has to do is ask Archangel Jeremiel to step in and help her review the circumstances of what her passion is, and he will guide her along her way.
She is already saying that's me for sure. So that's a great message. So she's feeling as though she's looking. She has a podcast as well. She is with the Beyond the Light Radio Network as well, and so she's really looking to grow her show. And so she feels as though that you nailed it on the head there. You were just seeing that she's working on growing that.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm really glad to hear that.
That is awesome.
That's not from me. That's from Archangel Jeremiel. New beginning.
And Candy shows on Wednesday night, y'all. So check her out. You can find Beyond the Light Radio Network on Facebook if you want to join the group. Okay, so next we have Amanda, which I believe, yes, I believe you have met Amanda at an event that we had when we blessed that farm. And she is really just, she spent some time in the hospital. She's really looking, for hopefully a kidney transplant soon. So her question, of course, she's here in Northern California as well, is if she can get any guidance about a time frame or if it will be soon.
Okay. Okay, just a moment, please. Okay, well, the card that comes up is from Archangel Ariel, the Lioness of God. Ariel is, her stone is rose quartz, and she has to do with the entire world, with the health of the earth, the health of the universe. She is all about strength and grace, and through kindness and self-confidence and forgiveness. And I feel that Ariel is stepping forth, and she's showing us this the lion in strength, and for Amanda to have strength and not be weary, not feel like she doesn't have that inner strength, because she does. and Ariel will guide her and give her that extra inner strength, but to just realize that she does have it, and she is got all that strength and grace within her. As far as a time frame, I that's really, I can't go there with that, other than trust, and self-confidence. Ariel speaks of self-confidence, and she really holds a lot of energy within this world, and I think that's the message for her, just to really hold on to knowing that the strength she has within herself.
I think that is wonderful information for her. I know that she's eagerly awaiting that phone call, and that it can, I'm sure, get frustrating, wondering when she'll be on the road of recovery and get off of that road of constant healing. So she's saying she loves rose quartz. So I think that is an awesome message. She says, so right on. Thank you so much. I'm feeling it all.
Oh, thank you.
And
I'm so good.
And Candy wanted to also mention that her favorites are the amethyst and the rose quartz. So she's really feeling something from not only her message, it looks like from Amanda's message as well. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Diane, you are so gifted, and I just truly appreciate you coming on the show. I mean, I wish I had more time, but we only have like 3 minutes left, and I got to play the outro. I had a little technical difficulties at the beginning, so I just wanted to apologize for that, you guys. But you know what? We're up and running. We're not going to let anything hold us back. This is show 2, so, we've got to have some hiccups. Pretty soon, I'll be as cool as Chuck and Benji and not have any issues. And I know Candy's laughing right now. That's what made me laugh. And so please, check out the Beyond the Light radio network on Spreaker. I will be adding my show to their network shortly. And, of course, we are all on Facebook. So we have E30 Death the Show revamped. And we have Candy's show, Experiences Within the Light. E30 is on Sunday nights. Candy's show is on, I always want to say Wednesdays, but it's Tuesdays. And Haruko with Brittany is on Mondays. Now, these are all various times. And then we have Introspection with Matt on Thursdays. So please check out all these shows. They're really fun. There's lots of great information. Candy's show is always full of information. So, did you want to say any last words here? We got about a minute left.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you, and I apologize for the technical difficulties.
Oh, not your fault at all.
And I just really want to wish everyone love and blessings, and remember your angels are always right next to you.
Oh, beautiful. Thanks, Marianne. She said, great show. Okay, I'm plugging in the other speaker now, guys. Give me 1 second here. Little sound effects for you. Thanks again for listening. Thanks for tuning in to Psychic Divination Hour with me, Psychic Gen B. Be sure to check out the other Beyond the Light radio network programs. E30, Death the Show Revamped with Chuck Bates and Benji Benjagurtis. The Haruko Show with Brittany Benjagurtis. Experiences in the Light with Miss Candy Orton. And Introspection with Matt Bennett.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host and or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views and positions of the host and or Beyond the Light Radio Network and or the sponsors. All information and advice is provided for entertainment purposes only and should not be construed as medical, legal, or financial advice on any subject matter.